Hey, what's going on, family? TSpeaks here. Listen, welcome to Daddy Talk. I want to jump straight into it. We got a good topic today. The title of today's discussion for Daddy Talk is My Divorce Was My Fault. And I'm saying this and I'm going into this not to expose anybody, not to embarrass anyone, but more or less to help you fathers, you dads who process everything that the mother of your kids is saying in a degree of anger. And don't get me wrong, a lot of them do a lot of things to make us angry, but some of it we have to be accountable for. And for me, this is going to be a time of revelation. I'm going to be very transparent. My divorce from my kids' mothers was absolutely my fault. And here's the reason why. Number one, I did not know her well enough to marry her. I was, in fact, trying to, if you will, repair the brokenness in my own life. Many of you may know and have heard through my other podcasts that I, in fact, grew up in a foster home and an adoptive home. So I suffered from, in the very, very beginning, being abandoned by my mom, not having my father there, and then the adoptive woman and man who adopted us did not really want my sisters and my brother and myself. They just basically wanted the money. So I never had a sense of belonging. What I sought to do all of my life up until just a few short years ago, believe it or not, it's taken that long, was to undo the void, undo the brokenness instead of dealing with it. And when I met my kid's mother, to be honest, I knew from the very, very beginning that she was not the woman for me. But here's the thing. I thought I could create her and create a family even if I was dealing with two people who were virtually strangers. I had no business really dating her and let alone marrying her. And forget about it, I should not have been impregnating her. Situation was like this. I was going back and forth to church. I was an adjutant. And again, as I said, I'm being very transparent. I was an adjutant. I was serving my bishop, doing well, reading my word, everything that you think that a man should be doing. Studying at night when I got home, saving my money, doing whatever I could do. And this was after I jumped out of Wall Street. So there was a little bit of challenge there. But I was still okay. Except there was this element of loneliness. There was this element of not having a family and always feeling as if I should have a family. I'm a good enough man to have a family. I should be walking home and walking in the house to a woman who loves me and I love her and some kids. And that's the picture. That's the vision that I had for my life for, I guess, forever, for as long as I can remember. So here it is. I met this young lady one day, just out doing some shopping, and we strike up a conversation. And it should have stayed there. Once I realized that she had really nothing going on in her life, that she was basically, there's a difference, as I said in my last part one, difference between a blank and an empty canvas. She was blank. There was nothing there, no aspirations, she was just kind of existing. And I figured once she gets a load of me, check out the arrogance, check out the ridiculous standpoint. I said, once she gets a load of the type of man that I am, she's going to automatically fall in line and become this wonderful woman to me because I'm indeed going to be a wonderful man to her. One thing led to another. We started talking, and therefore what I did was open the door. And I let sin come in because I started to sleep with her. So I'm serving God. I'm loving the Lord. I'm serving my bishop. And yet at nighttime, when I'm lonely, I go see this woman. This started the downward spiral of us because I'm seeing her. When I got ready to leave her, she revealed to me she was pregnant. On the day that I had made up my mind, she is not the woman for me. She's not the woman for my destiny. She is not the woman for me now. She told me, well, we went to the doctor, found out she was pregnant. Then I took it to the next level of ridiculousness and I married her. I married her because I did not, now don't forget, in the beginning, I had this vision of what a family should be. I'm certainly a man. I'm a provider. I'm a coverer and I'm a nurturer. I wanted my family. So this woman is pregnant and I don't really know her. Okay, we can still make it work. If you just give it your all, we can make it work. Well, she didn't give it her all. She absolutely did everything opposite. I did everything I possibly could, buying her gifts, took us away, literally did everything I possibly could, spoke to her, told her the vision, started watching. She started watching me execute the vision. She started watching me do everything, pulling out the Bible, doing Bible study, you name it, starting her car in the winter, turning it around, making sure the heat was on, praying for her in the morning, you name it, I was doing it. Well, that came later. So there we are now, two strangers dating, and she's pregnant with my seed. I figured I can fix this. We'll just get married, we'll have a house, and we'll start a family. She already had a son whose father is deceased. So I said, this is perfect because it's an opportunity to raise another child, to show them what they should be and can be in this life, because I believe that I know how, and I know it from God, because as I said, no man taught me. It went from bad to worse, to horrible, because now I have this woman who later on would tell me, I'd rather be a happy side chick than an unhappy wife. And I could not believe it, because everything that we did, so I went ahead and I married her. So now I'm married to a stranger, and I realized this woman had nothing in her at that point. I don't think she has it now, to be a wife. No desire to really be a wife. She had always operated as, if you will, and I'm not talking in a derogatory way, there is a term that's called side chick. She had always been a side chick. She was a side chick to her son's father before he died. She was a side chick to everyone that she dated. She basically did not have the ingredients of being a wife and didn't really want to be a wife. And I really say that because of the 3 times that we went to marriage counseling, because I took us to counseling trying to get it to work. Each time it was the same thing. She doesn't talk. She's not a good communicator. Nothing makes her happy. She does not smile. And I realized she was miserable within herself. She was miserable from growing up without her dad. And then I started looking behind and go, what did I do? So now as I find myself, because of course we continue, and I'm like, in my head, I'm going to fix this. I know what I'll do. Because the woman did everything you could name that a woman would do except walk out and cheat on me. But she did it emotionally, cheated all of her girlfriend's husbands. She gave them more respect. She literally let another man into my house and said he was my brother. That's why she invited him in. Put her foot in another man's lap, let him put lotion on her feet. You name it. She was doing it. This is why we were married. And I'm saying to myself, what is wrong with her? Everything. Because it started off with me looking at her and deciding to marry her or to date her when I should not have. I should have passed on her, realizing she was not the woman for me. So I decided to fix it. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to impregnate you a second time in order and in hopes of you settling down in your mind to becoming a wife. That made it even more nasty. Everything you name it she can do, she was doing. In the morning, she would get up and not say good morning. And I would say, wait a minute. Nothing is wrong. I go get your mother from her house. I take her to the beach with us. I spend money on everybody's food. I take your son out shopping. I take your son and play with him. I read to him. I check his homework. I go to after school. He's not my son yet. You don't even have our son yet. My son is a child. Nothing would make this woman happy. And the reason why? We were never supposed to get together. It agitated her, the type of man that I was. The nicer I was, the more giving I was, with all the gifts, with the Gucci bags, with the bracelets, with all of the charms. You name it. Nothing made her happy. The only thing I think that would make this woman happy is if we were separate without having any kids, and I just popped in to see every now and then. Maybe we got physical, and then I left. But you see, fathers, a lot of times we don't want to go back to the root cause of what the issue, where the issue started from. It starts from us, because we make a choice to lay down with women and then get mad because they are not our woman the way that we envision they should be. When the truth be told, this woman never had anything for me. I should not have done these things, but I did. So now the consequences is I have 2 sons with a woman who's the same exact way. I think she's out right now being a side chick to someone, but maybe she's a little happier because there are no responsibilities to be a wife. Out of all of her friends, she's the only one that's not married. And I think she's still miserable, but she's looking now to make me miserable because I divorced her. When I realized that she would not change, I did what I had to do to get out with my sanity. I left. Where does that leave us? In a mess, because now she's upset with me because I left, so she does everything nasty that she can possibly do, including holding my kids, including not letting me speak to them, including doing whatever she could possibly do. No matter if I'm spending money on her, taking her wherever, it doesn't matter. I got joint custody, and it still doesn't matter. Whenever she can have an opportunity to be nasty, she will. but I still own this one. Anything that comes after me marrying and divorcing her, it's pretty much, I opened it. I started it. So now I have to process everything with being accountable. One thing I won't do is put that on her. How she acts and responds toward me, that's her. But me linking up with her to begin with, that's my responsibility. So now I've got to change what I do. I've got to not hear her so much angry that I got with her because it was my fault. And I've got to understand that she's dealing with her own issues. She's dealing with all kind of stuff because she's a side chick who was married who has 3 kids now. She wanted it that way. I gave her what she wanted and she's still miserable. But I'm not going to be miserable and I'm not going to allow her to get me upset. See, Father, so when we deal with the women of our kids, the mothers of our kids, we've got to deal with them first being responsible. This may not be your story. This may not be how you moved, but it is certainly how I moved. And I'm being a man about it because I want to know those that have actually gone through this. I want you to know you're not alone. I want you to know it's not the end. I want you to know that there is a way to still get around this and to still get things at least to where you can be there for your kids. She may never, ever be nice. She may never be sweet. Listen, the internal battles that she has, being left by her father, literally from a kid, her mother literally like losing it mentally with her 3 kids or 4 kids, whatever. Those things wear and tear on somebody just like my brokenness wore on me. It causes her to be a certain way. She may never be, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to allow that to interfere with how I raise my kids. That's what daddies do. They find a way to make it work. I just have to, because I have legal rights, you can never keep my kids from me. You can act up and you can do all these things. And what I can do is keep my composure, not be upset, and understand that part of being a daddy is being a man and taking responsibility and saying, I started this. I don't have to live in the past, but I certainly have to understand it if possible. This is Daddy Talk, family, and I'm telling you now, as I said, my divorce was my fault, but what I do from here on out is up to me. And the same thing with you daddies. Do the best you can do for your kids, because my kids, regardless of what their father did, I will never leave them nor abandon them. I will not let their mother separate me from them, because their mother's root anger didn't start with me, but I certainly added to it. Well, we won't continue. This is Daddy Talk.